when you think about a long-term relationship and you remember back in those days what you would do to be with that one that you wanted to be with, that's important because it lets you know how much passion you had to be together at that time. So I would spend all my money and go over and buy her a fish sandwich and something to drink and take it over to her dorm. And all of her little roommates who would say, here comes Burger King, here comes Burger Boy. And I would give it to her. And later she told me they all ate it. She didn't eat it by herself.
Yeah, we cut it up in little pieces.
And I was in the dorm starving away
I know.
with no money. So you think back of those times about how can I get those times back on a daily basis, because those are great times.
Mm-hmm.
The first year after you have a child is the most difficult. And we've made it. We have one more month, but so far we've made it. It's definitely been difficult. But when I was thinking this the other day in the car when I was so angry at him, but I was thinking, we had so many ups and downs for like 7 or 8 years. And I really was like gung-ho and I was like, oh no, I'm sticking with this.
It can't be one person will do the work and the other person's like, and sometimes, people have to figure out how do they get back to the table, right? But I think what makes it easy is, when we've had to have difficult conversations, he's willing to have it. And sometimes I haven't always been willing to have the difficult conversations immediately, but to me, that is what makes him so wonderful. He's willing to do the work. Couples that struggle with lasting, right? I think it's always because somebody checks out.
Despite, the year that I really walked away or so, I really gave it my all. And I figure if I can do that, then I can still do that now. And even though everything is so much more amplified because we're married and have a child, like I'm just not somebody who is going to give up on us or our relationship. Because as opposite as we are and as opposite in thoughts as we can be, we really have something just super special.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Just, we're from two totally different worlds. And that's the thing about love. You probably would never put us together, but love brought us together. When I look at Maddie, I'm always reminded of that love. Like she's created through pure love, and it's magic. It's real magic.
I think one of the things that we both had to learn was that you should communicate all the time with your partner. My parents didn't talk a lot to each other when they were upset. And I think that was a bad model because actually when you're upset, you really need to explain what is it that you're upset about? Where did the other person go wrong? How can they mend the fences? What needs to change? And I think we had to learn how to keep talking to each other. And when I have a problem, I have to communicate with him. I want you to listen. I don't want to hear you prescribe a medication on script. This is not a medical problem. I just want you to listen. Because he would try to fix it immediately. Well, you need to do this. I'm going to fix it. I just want you to support me. Or I wanted to know, what did he think? If I want to know what he thinks, I have to say, listen, now I want your feedback. I want all positive feedback first, and then I want to hear the constructive criticism. So I would literally tell him how I can hear him. If he just starts in on me like he does at the office, like I'm a patient, I can't hear that.
So we challenge each other. So we can have like real discussions or even just disagreements about things, but we separate. We don't make it to where Asia Brown is mad at Dan Brown. It's like he's entitled to his own opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. And I think where the conflict comes is if he tries to make me believe what he believes, and I'm like, I want to believe what I believe. Can you just respect me that I can believe what I want to believe?
And I'm like, yeah, you can be wrong over there.
And I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah, you can just stay over there and be wrong,
And that's fine, because I don't feel the need to really indoctrinate him into what I think.
I would say that and I think we just touched on something that was really strong, is that we have not attempted to overtly change one another. We have both changed for the better. She's challenged me to do things differently, but we have not necessarily put like ultimatums on one another.
How did you get to the point where you could accept the other for who he is?
He wouldn't change.
But the truth is, your spouse, there are things that do change because people change over time. I mean, people change every few years, you evolve, right? But there are some core things that won't change. And it's so interesting. The very thing that attracts you to your spouse, right, is the very thing months later or years later you're fighting over. So like, I love the fact that you're so aggressive, you're so opinionated, you just, you're assertive and you're courageous. Well, they're not just courageous when you like it. They're courageous in the conversation that you don't like.
Right.
And you over time learn, this is the very thing I love about this person. And so sometimes you have to step back and say, okay, what is it in me that has not shifted well? That somehow has changed the narrative that, courage is all of a sudden bad. I don't like this courage. And so over time, I think marriages that work require a lot of self-reflecting. Like, I think when times are tough, it's easy to say, you didn't do this or you didn't do that, and I don't like, but, I think you have to step back and say, what is it in me that is also a part of this challenge?
Well, what I've learned, which I thought was really important for me, is that, as a teenager growing up, sex was the most important thing for me. And I wanted to get them, grab them, and take care of them. And then I learned intimacy is even better. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we talked about in couples was beyond intimacy. Beyond intimacy is things when you do things that really hurt and you do it on purpose to hurt your spouse, then you have to come back from that. That's beyond intimacy. That's hard to do. So you got to get the closeness in there. And closeness doesn't always include sex. Mm-hmm. But it does mean that you have to understand that person and know that person. And you have to be able to get under that person's skin so that you're close enough that they can accept you the way you are.
He knows that I want the absolute best for him at all times. So I'm coming to him in love no matter what. And I think that that's a real big point to have to come to in their relationship, is to really trust each other enough to know that this is not about me being right or me being at a higher level than you or a different status or that I'm better than you, but it's just that, let's grow together and I want the absolute best for you come hell or high water. So I'm only going to bring something to you that's beneficial.
While marriage is great, it's not great for everyone and it's not great for your whole life. And I think the hardest thing is to realize when it works and you've worked on it and it still doesn't work, that you need to do something to survive and to be happy again. So for some people, getting a divorce is the best thing that they can do. And for others, working on it all the time and understanding there's nothing permanent about it. I think I've learned a lot about learning to balance myself, balance my marriage, balance hopefully what I can give to Lewis.
And I always believe, maybe this is the optimism part of myself, that your spouse can respect you more when you acknowledge, the change is not just in you, the change needs to be in me. It makes reconciling a conversation or argument so much easier. You say, you know what? These are the areas within me that I need to work on that have been a part of the challenge. Yeah.